The war was over. At least that's what the galaxy believed. High above Earth's surface, a Zarkari warship floated quietly. The stars shined peacefully now. The sky was no longer filled with fire and missiles. For the first time in many years, there was silence. Inside the warship, Zarkari news anchors spoke in their cold, echoing voices. Their message was sent across thousands of worlds. The Terran Alliance has fallen. The last human command base has been destroyed. Earth is under our control. Aurelian soldiers cheered. On Earth, huge banners with the Zarkari symbol were raised over destroyed cities. Human buildings were cracked and burned. Skyscrapers lay in ruins. Streets were empty, filled with dust and silence. Zarkari commanders walked through the rubble like kings. They believed they had crushed the humans completely. They didn't know they had only started something worse. In one part of the ruined city once called New London, a group of Zarkari scouts moved slowly. They had been sent to search the ruins for any hidden resistance. But all they found were broken homes, dead machines, and cold silence. One of the scouts, a young alien named Vez, felt uneasy. "It's too quiet," he said to his squad leader. "You're just nervous," the leader replied. "The humans are finished. This is just cleanup." But Vez wasn't so sure. He'd heard stories. Not official reports, real stories, the kind soldiers whisper at night at the same time. In the outer regions of Earth, deep in the forests, a Zarkari patrol was moving through thick trees. Their lights scanned the dark. Everything looked normal, but the silence felt wrong. Suddenly, one of the soldiers disappeared. No sound, no scream. He was just gone. The others turned around, confused. They called his name. No answer. Then a second one vanished. Panic began. The leader, a strong alien named Kraz, shouted, "Form a circle, weapons up." But the forest gave no answer. The shadows were alive. A sound came from behind them, a soft clicking noise. One of the soldiers looked up, saw nothing. Then something sharp hit the ground. It was a helmet, Zarkari with blood dripping from it. Kraz picked it up and saw something carved into it. A message written in blood. "We are not gone. We're watching." Back at the main warship, a signal came in. It was old, weak, encoded in a Terran language. The signal had no source. It repeated one message again and again. "You should have left us buried." The Zarkari tech team tried to trace it. Impossible. The signal was bouncing from satellites that were supposed to be destroyed. Commander Threx, leader of the Zarkari Earth Force, laughed. "Let the ghosts talk," he said. "The humans are history." But Vez, watching from the side, felt a chill. He remembered something his old captain once told him. Humans don't surrender. When they stop talking, that's when you should be afraid. Later that night, in Sector 9, a small outpost in the mountains, a Zarkari soldier radioed in a strange report. "We found a cave system. It's not on any map. There's power down there. It's old human tech, lights, and something else." His voice broke up. I think they're still down." The transmission ended. All connection to Sector 9 was lost. Scout team was sent the next morning. They found the outpost burned. No bodies, only ash. The cave was sealed shut, but a message was burned into the rocks. 3 words: Phase 1 begins. Across the stars, planets celebrated the Zarkari victory. Holograms showed the fall of Earth. Crowds cheered. Leaders gave speeches. They didn't see the silent ship rising from Earth's atmosphere. It was not Zarkari. It was old, damaged, but still flying, and it was Terran. Its signal was simple. Project Ragnarok. Status active in the dark corners of Earth. Metal doors began to open. Dust-covered bunkers came to life. Machines hummed. Lights blinked on after years of silence. Inside those bunkers, they were waking up. Not civilians. Not regular soldiers. Something else. Something built after the war was already lost in the shadows of the forest. Under the soil, buried deep for years, a cold voice whispered through a helmet speaker. "Ragnarok online. All units, prepare. The real war begins now." The wind moved slowly through the trees. In the dark forests of old Siberia, Zarkari patrol teams walked with high alert. It was supposed to be a cleanup mission, but something didn't feel right. The air was too cold. Too quiet. Sergeant Vrex stood at the front of the group. His eyes scanned the shadows between the trees. His team walked behind him, 6 soldiers, all armed, all nervous. "Commander said this forest is clear," one of them said. Vrex didn't answer. He had heard the rumors. Strange disappearances, burned patrols, dead silence on the radios. Something was hunting them, but no one knew what. 1 hour passed. No signs of life? Then they found it. A destroyed Zarkari scout vehicle, flipped on its side, metal torn like paper. Inside were 2 helmets, but no heads. Vrex stepped back. No blast marks, no blood trail. Whatever did this wasn't. In a hurry, one of the soldiers moved toward the forest edge. "We should return. Call for reinforcement." A sharp whistling sound cut him off. He froze, then fell. His throat was gone. The others screamed and pointed weapons in every direction, but there was nothing, just trees. Cold, wind, and silence. "Fall back," Vrex shouted. But before they could move, something dropped from the trees. Wasn't big, but it moved fast, too fast to see clearly. One more soldier went down, dragged into the bushes. His scream never came. Back at the main Zarkari base, alarms were starting to rise. Patrols were missing, outposts destroyed. Surveillance drones showed dark shapes moving through the forests, but the footage always cut out halfway. General Threx slammed his hand on the table. "They are humans. Nothing more. Kill them like before." But the War Council wasn't so. Sure, an intelligence officer pulled up a file, a forgotten archive from the early days of the war. A program once rumored. Now real, Project RAGNAROK. Meanwhile, Vrex and his last 2 soldiers ran through the woods. They fired randomly into the darkness, but there was nothing to hit. Then they found a cave hidden behind thick roots. Inside, cold metal walls, human. Design, but not old. Clean. Powered, they entered. Weapons ready. The lights flickered on by themselves. "This place is awake," Rex whispered. Suddenly a loud noise echoed behind them. A gate closing. The cave locked from inside. A voice spoke from a speaker in the ceiling. "You shouldn't have come here." The voice was human. In another part of the bunker, someone moved through a long hallway. Tall, armored, silent. The human shock trooper known as Ghost 7 looked at the screens showing Earth's surface, Zarkari locations, patrol routes, weak points. He tapped his helmet. "Unit Echo, confirm activation." Other voices answered. "Echo 1 online. Echo 3 awake. We are ready. 17 soldiers. The last of Project Ragnarok, trained not to fight wars, but to end them." Vrex stood frozen as the voice continued. "You were not supposed to wake us. We finished what you started." Suddenly, the walls opened, revealing old battle suits, black and silver, marked with red Terran skulls. Vrex stared. "This isn't a bunker," he whispered. "It's a war machine." The 2 Zarkari soldiers with him panicked. One tried to shoot the speaker. A burst of sound answered him. A hidden turret fired once. He dropped instantly. Vrex was the only one left. Then the door behind him opened again, not by button, but by force. Ghost 7 stood there. His armor was scratched, scarred and terrifying. His eyes glowed faint red behind the visor. "You brought your army to our home," he said. "Now you'll learn what home defense really means." Vrex raised his weapon, but his hands were shaking. What are you?" Ghost 7 didn't answer. He stepped forward. "I am what rises when humanity falls." Far away, Zarkari ships began to receive strange messages. Videos of their own soldiers screaming, patrols disappearing, bases burning, and in every video, the same words were spoken by different human voices. "This is not your planet. This is not over. Phase 2 begins now." On the moon base, Zarkari engineers tried to shut down human satellites, but the systems refused. In fact, they were locking the aliens out. "Impossible," one technician said. The Terran systems were destroyed. But they weren't. They had been sleeping, and now they were waking up, back in the forest. Smoke rose from the cave. Vrex, wounded and barely alive, crawled out. Behind him, he heard the sound of marching. 17 shadows moved out of the cave. Slow, powerful, unstoppable. Ghost 7 looked toward the sky. Tell your leaders. The ghosts are real. Deep beneath the surface of Earth, cold lights flickered on. The air was dry, metallic. Walls were covered in dust. Power cables hummed with slow energy. One by one, armored pods opened, each revealing a soldier asleep for years. They were not normal soldiers. They were Project RAGNAROK. Ghost-7 stood at the command station of the hidden facility. His armor still bore the scars of the last war. He had no emotions on his face, only focus. Screens around him showed Zarkari movements on Earth. Forest patrols, air traffic. Weak points behind him. Other troopers stepped out of their pods each. One stronger, faster, and colder than the last. 17 in total, Ghost-7 spoke. We are the last. The Alliance is gone, but the mission continues. Humanity does not surrender. We survive. We adapt. We strike back. Far above the bunker, in orbit, Zarkari Command still believed Earth was under control. General Threx walked through the main control bridge, frustrated. Reports were coming in, lost patrols, destroyed outposts, missing soldiers. Sabotage, he growled. Resistance cells, nothing more. But he didn't know. This wasn't resistance. This was revenge. Back underground. One of the troopers, Echo 3, a tall woman with deep scars across her jaw, checked the system logs. We've been asleep for 6 years, 9 months, she said. The Alliance is gone. Ghost 7 didn't blink. We are the Alliance now. A large screen turned on, showing an old AI, one of the last Terran warriors, codenamed Minlock. Its face was made of light. Its voice was calm but cold. Ragnarok Protocol is fully online, it said. Your orders: destabilize enemy occupation. Destroy Zarkari command chain. Reclaim Earth. The troopers nodded. No one complained. No one hesitated. They had been trained for only one thing: to fight when no one else could. Meanwhile, Zarkari, Sergeant Vrex, the only survivor from the forest ambush, was taken to a military hospital. His report was confusing, even to himself. They came from the shadows, not soldiers. Monsters. The doctors assumed he was traumatized, but some officers began to worry. Something about Project Ragnarok was making its way through Zarkari. Systems encrypted files, ghost messages, strange human symbols appearing on their screens. One word kept repeating: awakened. At the hidden Terran bunker, Echo 9, the tech specialist, located a nearby enemy base, once a human supply center, now under Zarkari control. Lots of traffic, she said. Looks like a command relay post. Ghost 7 looked at the map. It's our first target. No loud speeches. No planning for weeks. The team just moved quiet, organized. Deadly night fell across the ruined countryside. The Zarkari outpost was quiet, lit by blue spotlights and guarded by alien soldiers. Inside, officers were laughing, drinking, unaware of what was coming. Suddenly, lights went out, all of them. Panic. The backup generators failed too. Security cameras, little. One soldier stepped outside to check the power units. He didn't return. Another followed. I'm gone. Then came the sound. A low, heavy thud. Like metal hitting stone. Zarkari officers grabbed weapons. The doors burst open. The humans had arrived. What followed was not a battle. It was a massacre. The Ragnarok troopers moved like shadows. Their weapons were silent. Their blades cut like fire. They used the enemy's own systems against them, turning turrets inward, jamming radios, blocking exits. Within 4 minutes, the entire outpost was silent. Not one Zarkari survived. Ghost 7 stood over the Zarkari commander's body. He turned to Echo 3. Send the message. She tapped her gauntlet. A Zarkari satellite received a ping. One single file played across their network. A video. Dark shapes moving through fire. Terran soldiers walking over alien corpses. Then a voice. You thought you ended us. You were wrong. You were just sleeping. In orbit, alarms went off on every Zarkari ship. Files were being accessed. Defense grids were compromised. A virus, old, human-made, and deadly, was crawling through their systems. General Threx shouted, "Shut it down. Kill the network." 2. Late, one final message flashed across every Zarkari screen. Ragnarok has begun. Back at the bunker, the team gathered around Ghost 7. They had taken their first target. But it was only the beginning. "We'll send everything now," said Echo 9. "Full reinforcements." "Good," said Ghost 7. "Let them come. The old guard is awake." He placed a small Terran flag in the ground outside the destroyed outpost. The wind carried the sound of fire, metal, and footsteps. The war had returned, but this time, it would be different. The stars above Earth remained calm, but below, the planet had changed. The Zarkari believed they had conquered it. Now, they were afraid to walk in the dark. In the cold hills of Sector 11, a Zarkari convoy moved slowly, armored. Vehicles, heavy guards, scanning every corner. This convoy was transporting supplies to the central base. Simple mission, but the air was heavy, too heavy. Inside one vehicle, Captain Noor tapped the screen nervously. "Why is it so quiet on the radio?" "Maybe the signal is weak," another soldier replied. But they both knew that wasn't true. The silence wasn't from weak signals. It was because the other convoys never arrived. Suddenly, the lead vehicle exploded, not from a missile, but from underneath, a hidden mine. Tech. Human tech. Flames rose into the sky. Before anyone could react, gunfire echoed from the hills. But it wasn't from a distance. The humans were already among them, moving like ghosts. Within minutes, it was over. The convoy was gone. Only the wheels of one transport kept spinning, slowly. A drone flew above the scene later. On the ground, burned into the dirt, Phase 1 complete. Back at Zarkari High Command, chaos had begun. Reports from Earth told of strange attacks, patrols vanishing, command centers burning overnight. No survivors, no bodies, just shadows. In silence, General Threx looked at the battlefield maps. More. Red marks every hour. He slammed his hand down. "It's only 17 soldiers. We are 10,000. His officers didn't answer. Numbers didn't matter. Anymore, the humans weren't fighting a war. They were breaking morale. Zarkari soldiers began refusing to go out at night. Some refused to leave base at all. Rumors spread. Stories of soldiers dragged into trees by invisible hands. Of human voices whispering over the radio, even when it was turned off. Some said they saw red eyes in the fog. Others claimed the humans weren't alive anymore, that they had become something else. In the shadows of the broken cities, Ghost 7 and his team moved like predators. They didn't attack directly. Not yet. They planted fear. They hacked the enemy's drones, made them play screams on loop. They used old Terran satellites to send messages to enemy helmets. During sleep, each message was different, each one personal. Some said, "We remember your face." Others simply said, "We're watching." At Outpost Delta, a Zarkari medic found a strange package left near the gates. Inside, a single Terran helmet. It was empty. But inside it, a Zarkari dog tag from a soldier who had gone missing 2 weeks ago. Sergeant Vrex, still recovering from his forest ambush, tried to warn the command. "They're not just soldiers," he said. "They know our tactics, our systems, our psychology. They're using fear as a weapon. Call them 17. But they are 17 demons." No one believed him. Not yet. Meanwhile, inside a mountain base hidden from satellite scans, the Ragnarok team watched the results of their attacks. Echo 29 grinned slightly. "They've started leaving their posts at night. Some are even deserting," Co3 added. We've intercepted 42 distress calls in the last 3 hours. Ghost 7 nodded. Call us monsters. Good. Let the name mean something. Back on a Zarkari ship in orbit, a technician was checking navigation logs when the screen glitched. He saw something, just for a second, an image, a burning Zarkari flag, and behind it, a tall figure, armored, covered in blood, holding a blade. The technician fell back from his chair. The system shut itself off. On restart, only one word appeared on screen: fear. That night, a Zarkari squad in Sector 5 decided to disobey orders. They packed their weapons and tried to flee into the mountains. They were never seen again. In the morning, another squad was sent to search for them. All they found was a tree, carved into the bark. You can run. You won't get far. Inside the Zarkari capital ship, General Threx called a secret meeting. We cannot allow this to continue, he said. We must strike back. We must erase them. His top advisors looked tired, pale, silent. Then one of them said, "What if we already lost?" Silence. No one had an answer. Somewhere far away, inside, a broken human city, Ghost 7 stood on top of a ruined building, looking down at a Zarkari base. His voice echoed through his helmet radio. Fear is the weapon. Fear is the fire. Hey, we are the spark. The rest of the team responded in one voice: Ragnarok is here. General Threx stood in the war chamber, watching red dots appear on the map of Earth. Each dot marked a location where his forces had gone silent. There were too many dots now, and they were spreading. The Zarkari had the numbers, the ships, firepower. But they had lost something more important: control. Soldiers were refusing orders. Some units had started to argue, even fight with their own commanders. Fear had turned into paranoia. Inside Outpost 77, 2 officers shouted at each other. "We must pull back to orbit," one said. "No, the humans are playing with us. We have to crush them before they grow stronger." Other soldiers stood in silence. No one knew who was right, but everyone felt it. The humans were no longer just a threat. They were a presence everywhere, all the time, in the trees, in the shadows, in their minds. Sergeant Vrex, half-healed, was moved to a secure room in the command ship. His story was spreading: how he survived the forest ambush, how he saw the human trooper up close. Some called him a coward, others a prophet. A junior officer came to visit him. "You've seen them?" "Tell me the truth," the officer asked. Vrex leaned forward. "They don't just kill, they unmake you. They want your people to forget who they are and remember who the humans are." "What are they?" the officer whispered. VRX answered coldly. "They are what happens when you push humanity too far." Elsewhere, inside an abandoned Earth city, Ghost 7 and his team watched hacked footage of Zarkari command meetings. They saw fear in the eyes of the generals. They saw cracks forming. Echo 2-3 smiled. "They'll destroy themselves if we wait long enough." Ghost 7 nodded, and we give them a little push. The next phase began. Not with bombs, but with a voice. The humans hijacked the Zarkari broadcast network again. Every screen, every radio, every internal comm, all played the same message. "You thought you understood war? You counted our weapons, our fleets, but you forgot the one thing that makes us human, ... You never stay dead." Then came static. And then ... Screaming .zar, carry voices from real patrols, recorded as they were hunted. Played on loop, broadcast across every channel. Some soldiers threw their helmets away in terror, others broke down crying. The voice would not stop inside the Zarkari. Fleet above Earth. A ship captain disconnected all external feeds. "This is psychological warfare," he said. "We must isolate our minds." But even isolation didn't help, because now the fear was inside. At Ground Base Cora, a strange thing happened. 2 Zarkari squads arrived at the same time, but each thought the other was human in disguise. They opened fire on each other before anyone could explain. 19 dead. All Zar carry. No human involvement. Ghost 7 received the report. He said only one word: perfect. Gari. Leadership tried to tighten control. But now, even their Command A is where glitching. Terran viruses were infecting systems. Doors locked randomly, lights flickered, drones fell from the sky, and everywhere. Messages appeared. You are being watched. We see everything. Planet remembers. General Threx stood alone in his office. Watching one of the old Terran broadcasts the humans had hacked into the system, it was a video from before the war. A human child, planting a tree, smiling, peaceful. And behind him, a Terran soldier stood watch. The caption said, "We don't fight because we want to win. Fight because we must protect what we love." Threx turned off the screen. For the first time, he looked tired. How do you defeat a species that fights with memory? He whispered meanwhile on Earth at a broken radio tower. Econine adjusted the signal range. She looked to Ghost 7. Their communications are down. Their command is cracking. What now? Ghost 7 looked toward the horizon, where smoke from Zarkari ships rose into the sky. Now, we remind them why the galaxy feared Earth in the first place. Back on the Zarkari flagship, Sergeant Vrex stood in front of the War Council. "You wanted to erase the humans," he said. "You thought they were weak. Now they are inside our heads, our systems, our fear." He looked around the room. "You think the war is out there? But it's already inside us." The skies over Earth were quiet. Zarkari drones flew in slow circles. Searchlights scanned empty roads. Bases were on full lockdown. No one spoke unless ordered. But silence didn't bring safety. Anymore, it only made them hear the voices more clearly. Voices that weren't on the radio. Voices in their heads. Voices that said, "They're here." Deep in a ruined city, Ghost 7 crouched on top of a half-destroyed tower. He looked down at a Zarkari base, surrounded by high walls and heavy guns. "Echo 3, whispered through the coms. "Heat signatures show 33 inside. Command officers, communication tech." Ghost 7 nodded. "Good. We don't need to take the base, we just need them to think it's already lost." 5 minutes later, all the base's power shut down. All lights. All gates. All defense systems. Off, no bombs. No hacking. Just a small pulse bomb planted in a nearby sewer pipe. Zarkari. Soldiers panicked. One shouted, "It's a system error." Another yelled, "They've breached the perimeter!" No humans were inside, but the fear was. Then came the second wave sound. Speakers hidden underground played strange voices. Darkari voices, recorded from real soldiers begging for help. Then, human voices whispered, "You're next." The base commander screamed orders. By sunrise, half the soldiers had deserted. The other half were found dead, killed by each other during the confusion. This was the human way of war. Not strength, not size, mind games. Shadows, unpredictable moves. The Zarkari expected a fight. They got a hunt inside. Deep mountain hideout. The Ragnarok team watched the collapse in real time. Zarkari soldiers walking into their own traps. Command ships firing on friendly units by mistake. Supply lines destroyed without a single shot fired. Echo 9 laughed quietly. "We're not fighting them. We're watching them destroy themselves." Ghost 7 checked his armor plating. Phase 3 begins tonight. High above in orbit, Zarkari Fleet Command was in full panic. Their top communication satellite, ZEN-9, had gone dark. Then it suddenly powered back on, broadcasting one single image across every Zarkari screen. A human skull helmet, covered in blood, resting on a Zarkari flag. Behind it, fire. Then a message played. "You invaded our planet. Now you are the invaders. Running." General Threx stared at the screen. "Cannot win this. Not like this." His advisor replied, "They are not following a war doctrine. They are following emotion, memory, revenge." Threx replied bitterly, "No, they are following instinct." Elsewhere at a fuel depot in Sector 9, Zarkari troops gathered nervously. It was their last major supply point in the southern zone. Guards doubled. Scanners upgraded. Still, something felt wrong. Then it happened. Their own fuel tanks exploded, not from attack, but because their systems were hacked. Remotely, dozens dead. Base gone, on a nearby wall, painted in ash. This is how we fight. Died the bunker. Ghost 7 addressed his team. We've disrupted their communication. Their supply lines are broken. Morale is gone. He looked each soldier in the eye. We show them what real war looks like. The team split. Echo 3 and Echo 4 went north, laying mines in old Zarkari landing zones. Echo 5 and Echo 9 headed east to hijack a supply drone and crash it into a command center. Ghost 7, alone, went south, toward the central Zarkari archive base, not to destroy it, to rewrite it that night. Thousands of Zarkari soldiers received a new mission update on their devices. All forces regroup at drop site Omega. Immediate extraction required. They followed the order, only ... The message wasn't from Zarkari Command. It was from Ghost 7. He lured 2,000 troops into a narrow canyon, then triggered the collapse of the cliffs. Explosives planted 2 days earlier. No escape, only silence. Across the galaxy, Zarkari civilians. On other planets, watched in disbelief as Earth, became a dead zone for their military. All feeds went offline. Every attempt to reconnect ended in strange errors. Data corrupted signal, lost or worse. Human laughter in the final scene of the part. Ghost 7 walks through the remains of the canyon ambush. Smoke rises. Zarkari helmets lie in the dirt. He opens a small recorder, speaks calmly. This is not about victory. It's about memory. You came here to erase us. Instead, you gave us purpose. We will never be forgotten now. He looks up at the stars. Let them know... The humans remember. The Zarkari once believed that humans were weak. Now, they avoided saying the word Terran out loud. It had become a curse, warning, shadow. In the northern zone of Earth, a full Zarkari battalion had taken shelter inside an ancient bunker, surrounded by steel walls and fire turrets. They thought they were safe, until the walls began to bleed. It wasn't real blood, just red liquid pumped through hacked pipes. But it broke their minds. Then came the message, sprayed across the ceiling. We told you not to wake us. Back in orbit, General Threx reviewed the latest reports. 71% of ground troops were now unresponsive or in panic mode. Command networks were corrupted. Entire divisions had gone missing. Some had turned on each other. The war map was no longer red and green. It was black and growing darker. Every hour a junior officer entered, pale and shaking. Sir, we recovered footage from one of the canyon drones. He handed Threx the device. The general pressed play. On the screen, one of the Ragnarok troopers, Echo-3. She walked through smoke, holding 2 blades, her armor dripping. With Zarkari blood behind her, a burning banner, once the symbol of the Dominion, and then she looked directly into the drone's lens. You made us like this, she said. Now we make you remember. Zarkari scientists, desperate for understanding, began studying captured human tech. They found things they couldn't explain. Body enhancements powered by living cells. Nano-healing systems working without fuel. Memory chips fused directly. To the brain, these humans weren't just trained, they were transformed. Built for a war, Earth already knew it would lose. But one day win back. Some Zarkari yelled them ghosts. Others called them demons. But one word was spreading faster than fear. Monsters. In Sector 4, a squad of Zarkari elite commandos received orders to assassinate Ghost-7. It was a suicide mission. They knew it, but they went anyway. They entered the ruins of an old human research lab. Inside, everything was quiet, dusty, still. Then, the doors sealed behind them. A light clicked on. On the far wall, a sentence written in old Terran code. You hunted animals, we became beasts. The lights went out again. One by one, the commandos screamed. One tried to send a message. He only managed to say, "It's not a man, something else." Then silence. Ika-9 intercepted the audio and replayed it for the team. Echo-4 chuckled. Even their best can't handle it. Ghost-7 didn't smile. He never did. Because we're not here to fight them. We're here to unmake them. In the Zarkari Command Council, fear turned into conflict. Some leaders demanded immediate retreat from Earth. Others said the humans would follow them off-world if they ran. Debates turned into threats. Weapons were drawn. Zarkari. Leadership began to fracture. Earth wasn't just a war zone anymore. It was a curse they had opened themselves. Meanwhile, Ghost 7 stood at the edge of the Terran Mountains, where snow fell silently behind him. The rest of Ragnarok waited, motionless like statues. Each of them had survived horrors. Each of them had become part of it. He activated the last. "This is not about reclaiming Earth anymore," he said. "This is about memory. And monsters always come back." He turned to the squad. "Tonight we show them what they created." Far across the sky, the Zarkari capital ship detected a fast-approaching object. Not a missile, not a fleet. A single Terran escape pod inside it. Nothing, except a data stick. When opened, it played one message. A compilation of Zarkari war crimes. Civilian bombings, executions, camps, all recorded by hidden Terran satellites years ago. Then, the final clip. The 17 Ragnarok troopers being sealed into underground bunkers alive. Silent, waiting. A voice spoke. "You thought burying us would end us. You turned us into monsters. Now we've returned the favor." General Threx dropped the device. He sat down. For the first time in his life, felt true defeat. Not of war, but of purpose. They hadn't just lost Earth. They had lost the right to claim it, back on the surface. Ghost 7 looked at the final stronghold. The last Zarkari base. The mission was almost over. He whispered, "One more step." Then we closed the book. The last Zarkari base on Earth stood like a wounded beast. Walls scorched, guns silent, troops broken. Inside the command center, only a few officers remained. Their uniforms were torn, eyes sunken. No more reinforcements, no more backup from orbit. The fleet had already left them behind. Commander Roll, once proud, now whispered, "We should not have come here." Another soldier asked, "Are they still human?" No one answered, because they already knew. The Ragnarok team had become something else. Far across the ruins, hidden in fog and smoke, Ghost 7 watched the base with him. The remaining 11 Ragnarok. Troopers, each of them silent, focused, changed. "This is the end," Ghost 7 said. "Not just of a battle, but of everything they were." No signal was sent. No drones were used. No warning was given. Only footsteps in the dark. One by one. The Ragnarok troopers walked toward the base. No cover, no air support, just steel. Fire, and the sound of boots on dead earth. Inside the base, alarms blared. "They're coming, everyone! 2 arms, weapons powered up, gates locked, turrets activated." But deep down, Zarkari knew it wouldn't matter. Echo-3 leaped the first wall like a shadow. 2 guards raised their weapons, but were already dead before they fired. Echo 9 cut through cables and plunged the base into total darkness. No lights, no targeting, just panic. Inside the command room, Commander Roll screamed, "Fight! Fight, damn it!" But his men froze, and then the walls began to shake. Explosions. It was the Ragnarok troopers breaking through. One wall at a time. They weren't attacking like soldiers. They moved like a force of nature. Echo-4 threw a grenade that exploded. Into silence, an EMP pulse. Every system shut down. No more shields, no more coms. Just fear, and then Ghost 7 entered. Helmet cracked. Armor scarred, eyes burning under the mask. He looked straight at Commander Roll and said calmly, "You woke us," or all backed away. "We were told Earth was weak." Ghost 7 cut him off. "Earth forgets, but Earth never forgives." One by one, the troopers cleaned the base room by room, but they didn't kill everyone. Some they left alive to remember, to carry the story back to the stars outside. The smoke began to clear. The Ragnarok stood at the center of the burning. Base dot flames behind them. Silence ahead. And then, for the first time, Ghost 7 removed his helmet. His face was pale, scarred, and tired. He looked up at the sky. The Terran satellite systems flickered on. A signal went out not to Earth, but to the entire galaxy. This is not a message of peace. This is not a threat. This is a memory. We were broken, buried, forgotten. But you woke us. And now, the galaxy remembers what we are, across thousands of worlds, species. Watched in silence. The signal ended with one last image. 17 soldiers standing on a mountain of wreckage. No flags. No medals. Only the words burned into the ground. Never come back. On a distant Zarkari ship, far away from Earth, an officer whispered, "They were not soldiers." Another replied, "No, they were monsters." The third quietly, "No, they were what we made them." Back on Earth, the Ragnarok team disappeared into the fog. No. One knows where they went. Some say they returned to sleep. Some say they watch from the shadows. Others say they're waiting for the next empire too. Forget. But written on every wall, in every ruined base, the same words remained. We told you not to wake us.